Hey there, welcome to our channel. This is
Joshua.
and Kat. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we get started, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting, all of that good stuff because we are trying to grow our channel. And we have 2 more subscribers. Woohoo! So yeah, pretty excited about that. Okay, so we want to talk about today. Do you want to introduce the topic, Dave?
Yeah, we're doing sort of more of a general subject, which is why leave a developed country, for lack of a better term, for a developing country. I guess you could also say first world, third world. I don't really use those too much. Or, like a wealthy country or a poor country, which I don't like either. But, you probably know what I'm talking about. And the reason I thought of this is somebody actually called the question, why would you leave a country like the US for a country like Cambodia? And that's what they meant, like a country that has all the creature comforts, high paying jobs and all that stuff for a country that's a little bit more struggling economically. So we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, and there really are there's so many reasons to be hesitant, especially if you're not you start to think about all of the things that could go wrong and all of the things that you may not have access to. And one thing that you realize, well, we realized for a long time or a long time ago, is that you know having a certain amount of money, once you get to a certain amount of money, your happiness is kind of like, you're not worrying about that. But once you earn over that amount, it doesn't necessarily buy you happiness. A lot of times it can make you less happy. And
Mo money, mo problems.
kind of like that. Yeah. So then you think about, okay, what are your priorities? What are your priorities as far as how you want to live your life and the atmosphere that you want to exist in? And the US it's very consumer driven. It's very corporate. It's very like, the greed is good.
I would say competitive,
which other countries are also.
Dog eat dog. Yeah, but I think some are a little bit kinder, gentler. In fact, I know we know that.
And you think you're like, oh, it's a first world, like it's first world or whatever. But guess what? Is in comparison to taking care of its citizens, it's very low on the totem pole. And you're not guaranteed anything.
Oh yeah.
You're not guaranteed anything. Like you go to another country and you have health insurance, you have where you have a child, you have the time off. If there's natural disasters, the government's going to take care of you. Even the ones
and by the way, it's not just the government; it's also your neighbors and your community, because it's just not as competitive of a vibe in general.
Yeah, and even ones where you're like, oh, they're surveilling me or whatever, they still take care of their citizens. So some people are like, what is the trade-off for that?
Yeah, and to piggyback that for a second, you're never going to find the perfect country. That absolutely does not exist. We've done enough travel. I mean, there's a lot of people who have traveled more than we have, but we've done enough where we can pretty confidently say there's no perfect place. But there are some places that are better for you, meaning each individual has like a good place and a bad place.
Okay, so talk about let's start. So if you had to give like just a couple of reasons why you would say why you would want to live in a developing country versus one that's like, developed, what would be your couple reasons? I'm just curious.
I like the vibe of growth as opposed to like a country like the US. A lot of experts and just citizens, including myself, kind of feel like it peaked, and sort of the glory days might be behind us. And in a country like Cambodia, since we're here right now, it feels kind of like more like the US coming out of World War II, where there's like all this hope and growth and excitement. I like that vibe.
Yeah, and when you're thinking about, for me, it's definitely, I like the sense of like I'm a village person, and I like the idea of.
She's not talking about the band, the Village People.
I know he's cheesy.
Why?
Like the village mentality, the community mentality, and it's like there that does exist. In the U.S., a lot of times within the same ethnic group, where they will bond together and they will take care of each other, and it does happen in some communities, but it's definitely something that is definitely feels lacking. And so in the US, that's one of the things. And wanting to have you definitely have the potential to be able to, dream big if you want. And being they say big fish in small pond, even though it's not, there's plenty of people, but where you can bring your passion to a new place and kind of introduce it to other people. Not saying that I'm the mother of invention, you know what I mean? But just make it where my
She's not
passion is
talking
bringing
about
it.
Frank Zappa and the mothers of invention.
Am I leaving that in? I don't know. I don't know. So, okay, so let's talk about some of the places, because you don't necessarily have to pick Cambodia. That's where we are right now. But there's other places where you can move to. And Josh was saying that Central America, South America, people were like.
There's regions that you should probably focus on. For instance, like Western Europe, the famous countries of England, Ireland, France, Germany. A lot of those countries are developed. So, you're not necessarily going to get that sort of up and coming vibe. But like the sort of obvious examples are, again, where we are, which is Southeast Asia, because we're in Cambodia, but there's also Vietnam. Some of the countries have been popular for a while, so they're a little bit more expensive now and a little bit more developed. Like Thailand is one example. Malaysia is moving in that direction too. And then there's some that are just really undiscovered, like Laos and I would say Cambodia for the most part, although it's being discovered as we speak. Then there's other regions like Kat mentioned, Central America and down into South America. So maybe Latin America in general. There's a lot of opportunities. And I think Africa is a kind of a sleeper continent where there's a lot of opportunities there. And we've been talking about that. We're interested in that. We're moving to Africa tomorrow. Just kidding. We're going to stay in Cambodia for a while. But
he is on the cheese train today. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I was going to sing, but
he. I don't know. Not cheesy, but I don't know. What was I going to say? Oh, so did not only because Africa is definitely something. And I had commented on someone's post a while back before. Decided on Cambodia, and people were like, you should consider Ghana, and I was like, with the interracial couple and how that would go and everything. So that's something that we would definitely entertain, and that's my finding out your genealogy and all that stuff. That's where,
so we would
my ancestors, a big percentage. So it's
and we would probably go on a trip there first, check it out. So with Cambodia. I had the advantage, thanks to Kat, I was able to do some scouting. So I could check out Cambodia, Vietnam, and a few other countries. And it really was to the point, I think I went to 5 different countries, and Cambodia was literally the only choice because it checked all the boxes for us at the time. But now that we're here and we do enjoy it, but we also know that there could be some other opportunities out there for us. So
and we've thought about
our minds open.
Oh, definitely. And South Korea is another one that we've thought about. But so when you're considering, so say you're in the US or somewhere that's developed and you're thinking about where you would potentially move to, I think that you have to decide what your priorities are. If your priorities are healthcare, if your priorities are education, if your priorities are
sitting on the beach,
the weather, you got to weigh all of that. And because it's not really, sometimes it's where you have to go to the place and do a little exploratory trip.
Well, and I think you always should go.
And some are if but a lot of times if if somebody's thinking about Cambodia, we can walk you through kind of what the process would be as far as visas, because you have to think about that too. The ease of a visa, which you have to, some places they want you to have a certain amount of money in the bank, or some like passive income, or at a whatever job, they want you to have a certain financial
they have
setting.
different requirements. Like some governments, there's like a cutoff. If you're over the age of 55, you can't work in certain industries, or maybe you can't work at all. So if you're 56 and you want to work, you probably shouldn't go to that country.
Unless you're like, you have they'll be like, you can't work, but if you have enough in the bank, you'll be able to go.
Yeah.
There's some places that, you know. You have. So, not everybody's in that position, where they have like a lot of like savings, or like whether they might not even have 10,000, and unfortunately it's, a lot of times when people are thinking about going elsewhere, that's a hindrance, because they do not have that like passive income, or they do not have the savings, whatever. And that's part of what made living in the US like a difficult thing to rationalize. And it's funny. Well, it's not funny, but we were thinking about relocating so many times before we met and after we met.
25 years.
Josh was going to move to Thailand when I met him.
Yeah,
so it was like he was
set. A travel book. I was going to Chiang Mai.
Yeah, and I was going to go to Hawaii. I was moving to Hawaii. It's not a different country, but I was planning on moving to Hawaii. And so like things change, and so you really have to like think about. But those are some of the things that we thought about. And the fact that, our daughter she was out of the country, and she's like doing her own thing. And then our son's he's like halfway through college, and he's going to be like traveling a little bit, hopefully
studying overseas.
Semester. Yeah. So it's like, we're getting to the point where, the ties to the States, of course we have family and friends that are still there. But it's just, you have to decide what you want to live for and what you want the rest of your life to look like. And you should not, if you have the capability at all, you should not let it hold you back, the fear. Because
I had a fear of flying, and I got on a 14-hour flight to Da Nang, Vietnam. That was my first stop. So I definitely am speaking from experience. I also had a fear of public speaking, and I took a course where I was up in front of people speaking. And now I'm speaking to you, and I'm doing great.
I know it's funny doing these videos.
Can you believe?
I'm trying to get him to do this forever, and it's like now we're doing it, and we're doing a little baby crawl to try and get some growth here on our channel. And so we really, hopefully we just spoke about it clear enough, and we gave you some food for thought.
And we think this is kind of a general discussion, and we think that we could do some more detailed discussions. So if you have any ideas or anything you want us to expand on, definitely leave a comment.
Please do.
Yeah. And then do all the other stuff. Subscribe, like.
Yeah, come on, guys.
I don't know if
come on. If you've watched it this far and you're not subscribed, come on. So subscribe, comment, share, like, all of that good stuff, because we do like doing this, and we want to do more of it, and we will continue to do it, and hopefully it'll just start going. Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching, and we will see you soon.
Yep. Okay.
Even though I'm like learning a little bit, and that's thank you so much for watching. We do appreciate you, and hopefully we're going to start saying even more.
Yeah.
We'll have some more language, because I'm learning, but I'm not practicing on it yet, but it's coming. Okay, see you soon. Bye.